All right, so one of the tricky things I ran into in this project is the multivariable descriptive statistics. So in that previous video, I covered how to make a descriptive statistics look like Dr. Hardy's did in his examples, just taking one variable and getting the mean, median, standard deviation, minimum, quartiles, all that. And then next, in the second half of the project, we've got to do something similar, but with a statistic split out between two variables. Like here, he's got the salary, like the mean, standard deviation, minimum, median, all that, females only and males only. So he's got salary split out between genders in a descriptive statistics table. So in our project, we've got uh, the charges versus type. That's one of the multiple variable comparisons we've got to do. So say we wanted to figure out the charges of. Go ahead and import this first. All right, so I'm gonna expand this a little bit just so I can read it. So say we wanted to figure out the charges of the new type of dwellings and the charges of the old type of dwellings. And we wanted to get only the new dwellings, mean, median, Q1, all that, and all the old dwellings, mean, median, Q1, all that. So what we can do is we can go to Data, select Cases, and we want to split these out by the type, the new and old. So we'll click Type, and we'll make an if. We'll click If condition is satisfied, and then we'll click If. And then we want to click Type right here and move it over. And we're going to say if type equals new. And that new needs to be in parentheses or it will not work. So we'll say type equals new. We can leave everything else alone and click OK. And now we've got a slash mark on all of our old data. So when we run reports, now we're only going to run reports on new type of dwellings. So from here, we could do Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Frequencies. You'll see a new filter down here. Just don't even worry about that. Leave it alone because we're focused right now on splitting the figuring out what the charges are amongst new type of dwellings. So we'll move charges over, click Statistics, get all the statistics that you want. Quartiles, your mean, your median, standard deviation, min, max, range, just whatever's appropriate for the data you're getting. Click Continue, click OK. And now in our output window, we're going to see that we have 30 valid. So that's 30 new types. And there's all of our information. Now we can go do the same thing with old. If we click Data, select Cases, and all we want to do here is change this if statement. So click the if button, change new to old, continue, and OK. And now all of our new data has a slash on it. So from here, we can go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Frequencies. And since we already ran this, charges is still there. It still has all the statistics we previously selected. And click OK. And now we're going to get a output with our 20 valid old. Now that's kind of part one of just getting those statistics. To make it more readable and kind of a more accessible table, what we can do is similar to what I did in the last video. So you can double click this and hit Pivot, Transpose Rows and Columns. That's just going to turn it from a vertical chart to a horizontal chart, much like the one that Dr. Hardy has. It goes left and right. Just like that. So after we click Pivot, Transpose Rows and Columns, we get this. Looks a little nicer. We can go do the same thing with the valid 20. Double click, Pivot, transpose rows and columns. Now we've got all of our data kind of where it needs to be. What I would do here to help keep track, similar to what I did in the first video, is so the first report we ran was for our 30 new. So I'm going to click this little blue icon next to the label up here to get rid of that side window and make a little more room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on valid. I'm going to insert column before valid. I'm going to say this is variable, and then I'm just going to say this is the new variable, just to keep track. It'll make more sense here in a minute. And then I'm going to X out of that. I'm going to go to the second one we ran that had the 20 valid old. I'm going to click valid, insert, column, before. I'm just going to say variable again. And then I'm going to say these are the old ones. Now, there is some data in both of these that I don't really want. You can edit it out in Word. Sometimes it gives you some weird stuff, sometimes it doesn't, but I prefer to edit them out here. So I'll go back to our first one. And I don't want this percentiles group because it messes with my Word formatting. So I'll click percentiles, right click, click on group. That's going to get rid of that percentiles thing. And then I'll do the same thing with this N over here. Right click, ungroup. Now, this is the 50% quartile, which is the exact same as the median, so I don't really want that in there twice. So what I'm going to do is single click on 50, hold down Control on my keyboard, and click the 130, and that'll select them both. And then I can right click and delete that. I'm going to do the same thing for missing because there's nothing missing, so I don't really care about it. From here, you can organize these a little better. That's what I've done so far. So I'll do, we've got 30 valid, and then you've got the mean, probably put the standard deviation, your minimum, and I'm just single clicking the category title and dragging left or right. So min, Q1, 25 is equal to Q1, by the way. You can double click that and rename it. That's all I'm doing there, just to rename any of those I want. So minimum Q1, our median, and then 75 is also Q3. And then our maximum. So that's just kind of a similar layout to how Hardy has his. And then I'm going to go exit out of that. I'm going to go do the same thing for my next one, the 20 valid old charges. I'm just double clicking that. I'm going to get rid of the N by right click on group, percentiles, right click on group. I'm going to get rid of the 50. I'm going to get rid of the missing. And then I'm going to say that I want the mean, standard deviation, the minimum, 25, once again. 25 is just another way that SPSS says Q1, and 75 means Q3. So I'll do mean, standard, minimum, Q1, our median, our Q3, and our maximum. So the important thing here is that both these tables line up. We've got the exact same categories in the exact same order. Now, to get these in a nice readable table in Word, I'll open up Word. And I'm just going to left click on this, Control C, Control V. I'm going to do the same thing with the second one, Control C, Control V. What I can do from here is click anywhere in this row that on the first table that has our second, or the second row that has all of our actual data. So just click anywhere, right click, insert a row below. Now we got a nice empty row. And then I'll go to the second table and I will single click once before old. And then I'm just going to click and drag. So I have all of our data selected. I'm going to Control C for copy. I'm going to go back to the third row of this table, the new one we made, Control V for paste. Now I've got a nice looking table that has, all of our charges split out between new and old dwellings. And from here, you can clean this table up a little bit. If you double click this gray bar between the category names, it will auto fit. Usually, I say that. But you can also drag it left and right to make sure that you don't have any funky things like maximum split up into two lines. I don't want that. You can get in here, you can rename any of these. So if you didn't rename Q1 and Q3 earlier, you could rename them here. So you can do a lot of editing in SPSS. You can also do it in Word. Find something that works for you. This is how I've been doing it. And that is your charges split out between new and old dwellings. Hope this helps. All right, I'm tacking this on to the end of the recording I just did for the charges versus type split out variables. To get rid of the filter, because you see we're still stuck with only old values, you can always just close out of SPSS to reset everything. But if you've got stuff up and don't want to close out, in the bottom left corner of the data editor, the one that's got the big table over here on the left, bottom left, you got data view and variable view, these little tabs down here. Click variable view, and the number 5 here, that's our filter that we made that had the type old or type new. So what you can do is you can right click the number 5 row, just this little 5 right here. When you right click it, you can click clear. And when you go back down to the bottom left and look at data view, you'll see that you don't have slash marks anymore. So if you were to run another descriptive statistics on charges, you would get your valid 50. It would run the report for all of your data. Same thing for graphs and stuff. So if you need to get rid of that, close out SPSS or go to the variable view and delete whatever filter was in there. All right, hope all that helps.